called to order the February 16, 2022, 7 p.m. meeting of Village of Holiday Hills.
Baldwin.
Yes.
Giles.
Yes.
Gilchrist.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Young.
Okay, can we please stand for the pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, before we start the meeting, I'm going to ask that everybody, please keep your comments to yourself until which time it is public comment. I'm also going to ask everybody to try to be as polite as possible to one another. At the end of the day, we all live in the same community. We're all neighbors. Okay, that being said, I need a motion to appoint Leslie Kanzeman as village clerk. Maura's going to be stepping back into the role of
Consulting.
consultant thing.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Would it be clerk and collector?
No. Oh, yeah,
Yes.
for Leslie, it's collect, yes, it's clerk and collector, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Was confused about that one.
Okay, Leslie?
Yeah, right here.
Oh,
We need a motion.
oh, we need a motion, yes.
I'll second.
Baldwin.
Yes.
Giles.
Yes.
Gilchrist.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Okay.
There you go, dear.
Okay, you wanna please read that?
I, Leslie Tennyson, having been appointed to the position of village clerk in the village of Holiday Hills, state of Illinois, and the county of McHenry, aforesaid do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of Illinois, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Village of Holiday Hills clerk to the best of my ability.
Thank you, Leslie, for all you do, for all you do.
Leslie's been training hard.
Yes, she has. Okay, hey, chief? Hey, Tim, you're not gonna go, tell the chief we're in the meeting here? Is it locked? Oh. We need you. Okay, I'd like a motion to appoint Jeff Caldwell as new chief of police of the village of Holiday Hills.
I'll motion. I'll second it.
Baldwin.
Yes.
Giles.
Yes.
Gilchrist.
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Okay. You step up here, chief, and read that.
I, Jeff Caldwell, have been appointed to the position of police chief in the village of Holiday Hills, state of Illinois, and the county of McHenry, aforesaid, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of Illinois, and I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Village of Holiday Hills Police Chief to the best of my ability.
Welcome aboard, chief. Thank you, I'd like to make a fast announcement about this. From here on in, if you have a problem with the police department, please don't contact me, contact the police department. Talk to the chief, he's a good guy, he's intelligent, he's well-trained, and he's got a compassionate heart. He'll work with you just like anybody else will. Trust him on that.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
All right, that being said, all right, I need, the vote, we made the, how do you call it? When everybody, I know, but everybody agreed to go ahead and hire him, but so we still need to vote. Yeah, we did a census, thank you. All right, so now can we get the vote for he's already done his oath of office and stuff with the clerk and myself, so,
Yeah, we actually tabled it, so we do need a vote today.
yeah, no, that's what I was just gonna say, I want them to know that because of the consensus, we went ahead and did that so we could start working. So now I need, a motion to approve, everybody agreed to it in the census, so we just wanna run through the vote now. Is that correct?
We need the motion.
Yes.
Okay,
I'll make a motion.
all right.
I'll second.
to
He did his
ask.
oath of office already, right, this morning?
Who did?
Is that?
Cobb, yeah, yes, Cobb
Okay.
did that, okay. So the next thing on my agenda was to appoint Larry Dillon, is that, I don't know how to pronounce it. What's that?
It would probably be Dowdland.
Dodlin as the director of village maintenance. He called just a little bit, or I called him, and he's very sick. So I advised him not to come, so we're gonna table that till the next meeting. All right, table. All right, a motion to contract a consultant for road grants. So what I want to do is, just like we have more as a consultant, I would like to bring Doreen in as a consultant.
Oh, heck
She's
yeah.
agreed to do that, and without her, we're lost, okay?
Yeah.
So can I get a motion?
I'll
I
motion
think
that.
Cheryl will.
Have fun with
Who seconded? Okay, thank you.
Lisa.
Is
Baldwin.
it definitely Doreen, or
Yeah, it
it
is.
just kind of, it's not really stipulated there?
Baldwin,
Yes.
it is.
Okay,
Giles,
Yes.
Gilchrist,
yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Okay, now, quick discussion on the grant funding for the sewers. It's my understanding that we received another $7.8 million.
No, it's not, the sanitary district decided to go ahead, and they're using $7 million of their money to get phase one done.
Okay. And we're working on that grant though for the bill pay, because I know I talked to Doreen on that too. So we are still working actively on more grants, there's plenty out there now that they're finally releasing the money for the, I don't wanna call it the build back, what do they call it? And for the infrastructure.
The CARES and the ARP.
Yes, thank you, okay, and that's basically designed for, roads, infrastructures, okay? So we're working on that, and it does look like we're definitely gonna get something from that, but I can't announce how much until we get it.
And the sanitary district's doing that? Is that what you
No,
said?
well, we're working on that ourselves.
Okay, but what did Jim say? What did you say in the beginning?
The sanitary district took a vote last week to go ahead with phase one of the sewer project. And as you know, the price has gone up, but they're going to use about $7 million of their own money to move forward for phase one. And, which is an increase in the amount of funds that they were gonna contribute to the project.
Okay,
If we do get this other grant, we have a great chance of being able to pay for the majority, for the rest of it, we're hoping. Okay?
So, I have a question. Is that going to raise how much our fees are? No?
Will not change the amount.
No, it
Okay.
doesn't
All right,
change
that
the
was
con,
just-
does not change the contract whatsoever. Doesn't change the sundown clause. The only thing that does is extends the sundown clause to the time you're available, sewer's available, you now have 15 years to connect. Okay. We just discussed the grant funding that we're going towards. Okay, now, everybody, including myself, got a water bill. Okay, they superseded, well, it didn't supersede, but it came pretty damn close to my gas bill. That being said, I spoke with the village attorney, and we have a few options that we're looking into, and I need your guys' approval as a consensus. Do we move forward towards this? One is a condemnation, and the other one would be an eminent domain. Now, I also had the village attorney look into where these sudden hikes come up to. Okay, so I decided I'm gonna allow him to explain it. I think we all know the answer to that already. We're not just paying for Holiday Hills, we're paying for every company these guys own. They packaged it into one big deal, okay? Whether it's in Florida, whether it's the three here in Illinois, when they do that, they're taking it because there's a clause or something, you can explain that to them, which I think is BS, okay? BS. I want everybody also to remember that you can put a well in. You can now put a well in, nobody can stop you from putting a well in. It has to be 75 feet from your septic, 75 feet from your neighbors, and that's the only stipulations. Once the sewers are in, that's even easier because we have sewers instead of septic fields. So I want everybody to know that there's another option out there. Some people, like I'm over in Aquifer, If I was to do that, I got 4 neighbors that are local, right to me. We're talking about doing a joint venture and putting one well in and all of us feeding off of it, you know, to cut down the expense. But there's other options we all can do personally, but we're hoping for either condemnation or an eminent domain.
What is that?
Well,
Go ahead,
yeah.
explain it to you.
First, I did look into where the rate increase came from. Apparently, Utility Services Inc., which is now Prairie Path, and they changed their name when the ICC entered an order, but they applied back in February of 2021 for a rate increase. And I sent the village president a list of all of the communities that were affected. And what they did was they essentially said we have these small systems, but they're all under one corporation. And in Illinois, a fair amount of recovery to the investors in these companies is 7.19% of really the operating expense. Anyway, so they took the operating expense, the cost for operating the entire company, whether it's here, Oakwood Hills, LaSalle, somewhere in LaSalle County. They said this is our operating costs for the system, and this is, and they submitted that to the ICC. It took the ICC probably through last October to all our staff reviews to make some decisions on it. Apparently there was some sort of objections from other companies, larger companies that knew about this. All of those failed. And on December 1, the ICC basically said you're entitled, this is what it costs you to operate, spread it out through your companies, and you get that 7.19% on top of that. And that's how they calculated your rate increase. I don't believe they gave any notice to anyone except posting it on their website. So the ratepayers really didn't know that this was going on. But that's what happened. So, and that's why your rates went up so much, because they may have built a new system somewhere else or improved somebody's system, and that added a certain amount, and that spread out through their entire company. It's unfortunate. I mean, a lot of the smaller companies up here, which I've worked with, it's one system, and that's the company. So when you go in for a rate increase, it's only that system in that community. It's not this large mega company with 50 of these small systems that are systems are not companies. Their options are, eminent domain and condemnation are really sort of the same thing. The public, if it's in the public interest, you can go forward and essentially do an eminent domain and take the company. You know, as everyone knows from their high school even, constitutional law basically says no taking without just compensation. That's the trick, is what is it gonna cost if you condemn or if you do an eminent domain action? You're gonna have to pay for that taking over the water company, if that's what the village wants to do. The first step to that is to hire someone to determine the valuation, what that company would cost for you to condemn, because you're gonna have to pay them something. If you file a condemnation action, then you go to court, and it's really a battle over how much to pay for the water company. I mean, that's pretty much the battle. And once you get it, you of course then you get to pay for it. So there might be an issue where you take out bonds or take other actions to purchase it. But once again, we don't know the exact valuation. And I looked for it to see if there was some breakdown of each company. I couldn't find it. To sort of get an idea what the operating costs of the company or the system that services you. it's not there, it wasn't provided in the paperwork submitted to the ICC. So where you are right now is that's one option. Village president mentioned possibly wells. I don't know if that's viable, there may be some objections to that, we're gonna look into that. Lou sent me some documents, I've gotta verify that, but, you know, that may be another option, but you're gonna have to, it's gonna be costly if you decide to do an eminent domain, but that's something you can do. And that's pretty much it. I mean, you can complain each individually to the ICC. And if you go to their website, they actually have a form where you can file complaints. And today I was very successful at getting through directly to someone at the ICC, which I was surprised about, but that actually happened. I picked up the phone and got a hold of someone. So last week I tried the same thing, couldn't get anyone. So you're gonna have to play that by ear. But you can't complain about the rate increase because, you know, if you wanna say it's fundamentally unfair, you can say that and they'll, you know, if they get enough complaints, they may do something about it. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. There are a lot of procedural steps you have to go through if you are going to condemn or do an eminent domain. I mean, you could spend an hour on it, but we're not gonna do that. So there are a number of steps that could take place that the village board will have to have meetings on and make some decisions, pass some resolutions as to the public need for the water company. Anyway, that's it in a nutshell. I don't know if the board has any questions.
So does that mean if we take over, then we'd be responsible for employing people and taking care of
Yeah.
them?
Yep.
But it also would create jobs and it would create money coming into the village, you know,
Yeah, but-
financial benefit.
But also
Have you ever seen anything like this actually get pushed through and make it all the way through?
not for a water company, no. I mean, I've done
So we
a
gotta keep
dozen.
that in mind too.
Yeah, I've done a dozen for property, you know, all the way along Randall Road, or not Randall, but between 31 and Algonquin. I was involved in the condemnation, like the litigator that did the condemnation on all those properties. That wouldn't sell, of course, but that's, but never a water system that's slightly different.
Alright, well, we'll have to, like I said.
Well, I do have one question. You said that individually, we're not gonna make a difference. But if we come together as a unity and we made a petition throughout the neighborhood.
No, you have to individually
He said
send
it might
letters.
make a difference.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
Yeah, and, but you
Sure.
everybody individually would have to contact the ICC.
So you couldn't just do like a,
No,
As a
no.
ratepayer customer, then you're.
that'd been easier.
It's a water racket, you know, the companies
Yeah.
will never, okay.
It just
All right.
would help
Now,
out residents.
I have a question. Now, I was just wondering, okay, so they took over all these companies at a certain point. So we're paying for maybe infrastructure that had not been updated for a long time. But yet we don't have a voice in what
Where they
they
spend the
take
money.
over because they could have pipes that are bursting left and right in a village or whatever that
Oh.
needs to be replaced right away. And you know what, or
They
they
have to
need
do
to
that,
update
though.
their infrastructure.
They have to do that though, they have to replace those pipes.
Well, I
Yeah,
understand
the
that,
water
but we are held responsible, I'm just saying, but yet they have all the right to buy what other water company
Right.
that is in our group without us even having a voice in it. So my thing is, why do we pay for something that could be like a bad investment for them? But yet it's a good investment because they're still making money off of us, they're still giving us increases. They are paying for the infrastructure, we're paying for the infrastructure that needs to be replaced. So how does that really play out
The only thing
that
I
way?
could tell you is you need to call your legislator.
Okay,
I mean, it's not, you know, it's the way the law's structured with these public utilities, I mean.
it's like they could buy another one,
It's a
I'm
lot
just
of-
saying
and
that
there's the
needs a
money that
lot
they
of
get
work,
from us.
and now our water bills are gonna increase again.
Right.
I find it very odd that all of a sudden everybody's yards are getting dug up saying
Well-
that the valves are bad.
Oh, they have to
No,
replace
no,
those
no,
valves.
Out of the blue, mine was getting dug up.
We're giving
Of
bigger
course, people in my
systems, I
neighbor.
personally think it's bigger systems for a better
No,
flow.
no,
No, they just
legally,
started because they're on the easement, so they have every right to do it.
legally, the ICC has to tells them they need to replace those valves every 10 years if it's a certain line, every 6 years if it's another, I think 5/8
Right.
is 10 years,
Right.
and the other one
Okay, this
is
was
like,
the first for me, for them just
Oh, 'cause I
automatically
looked it
digging
up.
up.
I looked at it. And for them coming in to change meters, they have to do that. And right now, they're in a court battle with the ICC, asking them to give them a, like, how can I say it? Give them time because of COVID to replace
Okay.
these water meters in these people's
Yeah, that's why
houses
they're behind
because
on schedule.
their employees are afraid to go into certain houses. They don't wanna be exposed to COVID.
They're
So
also
they're asking for an
updating-
extension, it's an extension, something else, I can't remember the full.
Yeah, they had their petition and their order were extensive. I mean, one of them was like 122 pages long. But they're probably required by the ICC to meter all the houses. That way, you're paying, everyone that has a meter pays their fair share. Unlike having up in Wonder Lake, there were a couple subdivisions that half the people had meters and half the people didn't. And it just caused this huge inequity about how much people were paying for water. Lou could have one person in his house and
I do.
have a meter, and the guy next door could have no meter and, family of 8, and they could be paying the same amount of money. And although the guy next door should be paying 8 times as much. I mean, so that's, the ICC is gonna force them to put in meters and probably new meters.
Why can they
Yeah, they're
do
doing that
estimates
too.
then?
Huh?
Was it like estimated readings? When I looked at my bill, it looked like my usage more than doubled. And I was like, there's no
Everybody's.
way
Yeah.
my usage actually doubled, I
Yeah.
use more water than I
Yeah.
do.
But did they bill you in December?
I think it's covered December, but it was like 35 days or something. But when I did the daily average, it was still like double, no matter what.
Wow.
Alright, so we move a little bit further, even though he just told us though, the chances of winning this are slim to nil. So we have to, we wanna be careful, we're not gonna throw good money into the bad money. And we're also gonna look into these well things, cause like I said, if you're sitting on a good well, you can share that well and make a contract with your neighbors, to where you guys could put one well in and share 4 houses. I mean, basically, we're running off of one well, feeding us all. So it's just something for everybody to keep in mind. How do you put a water company out of business? You get your water somewhere else. All right, that being said, I wanna address the residents. My address today is gonna talk a little bit about Facebook, because that seems to be the hot topic lately around this village, okay? And when it comes to Facebook, I just want everybody to understand what the rules of Facebook are. The rules of Facebook was originally designed to keep in touch with your friends and your families and your schools and all of that. And it's kind of gone outside a little bit of that scope. So what everybody's been asking lately is why we have 3 Holiday Hills Facebook pages. So I just want to clarify the 3 Facebook pages. One is the official Facebook page that is ran and directed by the village. The second one is the residents village page, which was started by a couple of young ladies here in the village. And initially they started that to talk about babysitting, arts and crafts, things that are going on inside the village. And then the third page is owned and operated by Mr. Costangi. And it's the community Facebook page. Now, everybody understands the rules of Facebook. You can control anything you want or want to be said or be seen on your Facebook. I got asked a question last month about me and my Facebook. My Facebook is very personal to me. It's for I can keep in contact with my children, my grandkids, my family, and my friends. And Facebook gives us all this option that states that we can put on our Facebook, our personal Facebook, who we want as our friends, who we want as our family. And it also gives us the options to make sure that people we don't want in our personal lives not being able to come in and see our personal lives. So I want to iterate. I used that law and that quality on my Facebook to ensure my Facebook is protected for my family and friends. Okay, no different than Mr. Costangi. You can post something on his Facebook, and if he chooses, you know what, I don't like that, he can remove it. Just that simple. Okay? And the same thing with the residents. The residents have a little policy asking not to speak about politics on it. I agree with that. I mean, an announcement is an announcement. That's not a political statement. It's an announcement. Hey, the water's digging up over here on so-and-so. They're kind enough to allow us to share that. So I want everybody to understand what the 3 Facebook pages of Holiday Hills are. Because apparently there's some clarity or misunderstanding about it. Everybody thinks that they're all official pages. The community site is absolutely not a community or an official village website that is owned and operated by an individual. The residence is owned and operated by a couple of residents here that I think they do a very good job with it, and then there's the official one. We're now working on being able to do a live feed. Hopefully by next month, all these meetings are gonna be on the official Facebook page of the village. So instead of having to come up here and crowd in a small building here, we're gonna be able to view it. Everybody at home is gonna be able to watch it from the comfort of their own home, the safety of their own home. Okay? But I just want everybody to understand what Facebook really is. It's whoever it's under, whoever owns that domain, they control that domain. They don't like what you say, they take you off, they can delete you, just like that. Me personally, my personal Facebook is kind of private to me. It really is. It's my family and my friends, and I want to keep it that way. I don't mean to offend anybody. I live at 1505 Poplar Street, Holiday Hills. Knock on my door. A lot of people come all the time to my house and talk to me. If you want to talk to me, I'm always there. So I'm not denying anybody access to me, and I always have Tennessee. Tennyson, I always call her Tennessee, okay. I always have Leslie to repost anything I post for those of you that can't see my post. And the only reason you can't see my post is because I personally don't have you listed as my friends. Because maybe you're not. But I want everybody to be able to see my post. So she always reposts my post. Okay, that's all I really have to say there. Clerk's report.
Can I get a motion to approve the minutes for January 19, 2022 board meeting?
I'll motion.
I'll second.
Baldwin? Yes. Giles?
Yes.
Gilchrist?
Abstain.
Meyer?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
I'm done.
Okay, treasurer's report. Treasurer's not here. So can I want to say this real quick. Ms. Thompson, a lot of people think that the board here doesn't really do anything. They don't realize that this board does do their job and what they're liable for. Because they don't have something on the agenda, means they just don't have anything right at this moment to talk about. But Ms. Thompson came up, and because we've seen that there's some errors with our treasurer, she's new, she's learning, but she realizes she's in charge of finances. She came up and stayed there for several hours today with the treasurer, going over the warrants and stuff. She did find some mistakes, shows that she's doing a pretty good job, Ms. Thompson is. That being said, those things were fixed and stuff prior to the meeting. We're trying to avoid mistakes. We're not perfect. There was a check of that went out that wasn't on the warrant, but it wasn't on the warrant because anybody was hiding anything. Clearly, it wasn't on the warrant because it got overlooked because the person that received it was also helping with the warrant, and there was a lot of confusion. We were trying to recover with our book work, okay? And that being said, it is on this warrant, and in case anybody looks at the warrant, that's not another check that went out, it's the check that actually went out back in December, okay? I appreciate anybody sees a mistake and brings it to our attention, of course. We're not perfect, none of us are bookkeepers, none of us are absolutely 100% dead on, that we can't make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes, and that's exactly what it is, a mistake. There is no secret hidden agendas with this board. There is nobody trying not to be transparent with this board. Once again, if you have questions, all of us are available. Come and talk to us, ask us. You wanna see something? You don't have to, unless it's something that it needs to be for you. You don't have to for it. Come here and say, hey, can I take a look at that? We'll make you a copy, take a look at it. There's no hidden agendas, there's no hidden secrets. This board is working their butts off to try to keep things as straight as they can here. okay? We're trying to do this for the betterment of the department. We don't get paid very much, but we bust our butts to try to get the village the things that they need and get the residents the comfort of living in a safe environment. Okay, as the police department, our police department are all full-time professional police officers. I no longer want or need to do anything with this police department, not that I ever did, I had to oversee it, it all falls on my shoulders. It doesn't feel like that anymore, because I really do have great professional police department. I can step back now, I got other things that I need to be working on. Okay. All right, so, we got,
We need a motion.
motion for the financial.
A motion. I have one question. Why are we going to Crystal Lake Express Wash?
That was an older bill, and that was because our former chief
Okay,
and treasurer authorized those washes. We're not going there anymore. We
okay,
can
that's,
go
I
there.
was just,
We can go to the $10
the
wash right
Island
here.
Lake one is, yeah, okay.
Right. Well, we have to go to where we can get a contract, but there's one right down the street in Wakanda. We used to use Valley right there on
Yeah,
Sherry,
even their
Crystal Lake
prices,
Valley,
okay.
but they closed down.
Yeah,
So yes, the chief is working on getting us a good place to get a car wash. Not only that, that's awful expensive, car wash.
yeah.
Okay,
All right, so that was Cheryl and Terry. Baldwin? Yes. Giles?
Yes.
Gilchrist?
Yes.
Meyer?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
And then the warrant.
okay, can I get a motion to approve the warrant?
I'll second.
Baldwin? Yes. Giles?
Yes.
Gilchrist?
Yes.
Meyer?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
And in case anybody's wondering, from here on in, the financials in the warrant, within a few days of the meeting, after it's been approved, will be up on the village website and on the official village Facebook page, okay? So if you wanna see them, just hang in there for a couple days, they're gonna be there, okay? All right. Building inspector, they're not here. Maintenance report is vacant until we hire him, but I've been standing in on that. The snow plowing, we had a little rough start, there was a couple of minor errors. One was absolutely my fault. I didn't get the phone call because they wanted to come in early and I didn't see it, and I wanted them to be here early, so they came a little late that one morning. That's all been corrected. I've been driving the roads, as most of us, and the roads have been pretty clear. The other thing I wanna do is, I said something that was just way, I didn't mean it like I said it, but I said it. And that was when I made the statement that island roads also look like shit. When I was making that statement, I was talking about, as the snow was coming down, all the roads were messed up, we weren't the only ones. But I owe Island Lake a deep apology, because I should not have worded that way. I should not have mentioned it that way, because they're very kind to us, they work very well with us. And I called when I realized and saw that on the video that I had said that. You know, sometimes I say things I'm not meaning to, but it comes out of my mouth. And I did call the mayor of Island Lake and their roads commissioner, and I deeply apologized, and I'll take the heat on that. I did not mean it that way, but it came out that way. I said it, I own it, and I sincerely apologize, because it wasn't how I meant it. But I just want everybody to know that I should not have said that, period. That was not a good way of constructing what I was trying to, or convey what I was trying to get across. What I was trying to convey is that when it's snowing out, everybody's roads are crappy. I'm not even gonna use the word shit anymore. I just used it. All right, that being said, so that's that. All right, so we're at, police department. Our new chief would like to and will be addressing the residents at a lot of our meetings. So I'd like to introduce Jeffrey Caldwell, our new chief of police of Holiday Hills. Chief, you have the floor.
Hi folks, how are you? A couple of things I just wanted to address. I wanted to introduce myself for one. My name is
Chief,
Jeff
can you move
Caldwell.
this way just a little bit so you're gonna be in the.
Oh, sure. My name is Jeff Caldwell. I have over 25 years of police experience. I was offered this job a couple of months ago to come up and, I don't wanna say help clean things up, but help turn things around. I've been trying to change the culture of policing here in Holiday Hills. I've been fortunate enough to bring in 5 additional guys. When I was offered the job, it was myself and 4 other officers. I was able to bring in 5 other guys. All of my officers are full-time trained police officers. We do have 1 guy that will be going through a part-time police academy. He's former military. He's very well trained. And what I promise all of you is that my guys all have 100% dedication to the village of Holiday Hills and the people in Holiday Hills. I think that I'll touch on something that Lou had said regarding some Facebook posts. There's been some posts about, the cops not being around when the school bus is around and things like that. I did come into some things that I had to change. I had to change some strategies of patrol here, hours worked. As I said, when I came in, there was only 4 officers here. There was an interim chief that was administratively trying to fix things. I came in as a patrol working chief and brought in 5 other guys, and it's a process. All the guys need to be trained. They have to become acclimated with the village, the streets, the policies and procedures here in Holiday Hills and in McHenry County. With that being said, we went from, when I walked in and saw a schedule back in December, there was about 30 hours covered, maybe 40 hours covered of patrol. Up until today, my officers have covered 111.5 hours worked, and by the end of the month, it'll be 169.5 hours worked. We have officers working in the mornings, we have officers working in the evenings, and we're splitting shifts. Just to kind of break that down a little bit, the budget allows us to work about 10 hours of patrol a day. Outside of that, the McHenry County Sheriff's Department will take that over. So if you call 911 or you call for assistance, it'll be McHenry County Sheriff's responding to that call. Mostly every day will be my officers responding to the calls during the day, possibly from 7 a.m. until midnight some nights, sometimes a little bit later. In the summer months, we are going to work some different hours. We're going to do some traffic grant stuff. We are going to have officers out working patrol, working around the village. We are going to look into, some seatbelt grants and some distracted driving grants and things like that. Because it's such a small community, we need that financial help from the state, which they're willing to offer up the money. As you guys are working, as the village board is working on grants for roads and sewers and things like that, we have the ability to do that as well for equipment, for hours worked as far as DUI grants, distracted drivers. Things like distracted drivers is like cell phone, being on a cell phone or something like that where you're driving, and then seatbelt grants. We came into some challenges here, but my staff and I are willing to do this together. I tell them all, we are in this together. We're gonna make things better. We're gonna change the culture here, and we're here to serve the community. We've had a couple of things happen already, which I'm sure everybody's aware of. This is a village like everywhere else. Police matters come up and we have to handle them. My staff has handled them 100% professional. We handle them to the letter of the law, and we did what we had to do in all of these cases. What I will say is that reporting them on Facebook isn't going to get the police to your house. I handle everything face to face. If anybody has anything to say, anybody has any questions, please ask me. You can call the police department, you can call me, and I'll be more than willing to help. Anybody who has any interest in any of our training, the Illinois Training and Standards Board has every record of any training. As I said, I have over 25 years of experience. They have every hour of my training logged, just as they do the rest of my officers. We do have a lot of new mandates that are coming up. I'm looking into grants for that, because as the mandates change for police officers, we're gonna have a lot more training. In small villages like this, the only way we can do that is if we reach out to other police departments where our guys have connections and we still have good relationships with, and they'll allow us to train with them for free. We have, some hands-on stuff that we have to do, felony traffic stops, DUI stops, some medical stuff, emergency medical preparedness, which part of my past is I was a public safety officer. I am a firefighter 3 and an EMT as well, and as I've said, I've been a cop for over 25 years. I also have other officers that are EMTs as well, and firefighters. What I want all of the residents to know is that we have a complete buy-in here. My guys aren't here to just come in and get a badge, you're gonna get an ID, and then leave. We do a very important job for a minimal amount of money, and we take it very serious. The village has been great to us so far. We don't have, any ill intent towards anybody. As coming in as the new guy, we expect that everybody gives us a chance. There's always a bump in the road, and like I always say, you gotta crack a few eggs to make an omelet. So, things are gonna happen, and just as Lou said, people make mistakes. We're always held to a higher standard, so we try not to make mistakes, because usually ours are a lot more dangerous. But you are gonna see a lot more police officers working. You're gonna see a different level of police working here. As I said, I am the chief. I generally won't wear a white shirt. I wear a blue shirt like the rest of the guys do, because I'll be driving around in a squad car like my guys do. I think I've seen some of the ladies here walking around the village a couple of times.
We were okay, right?
Yes,
Were we okay?
you were fine. Yeah, no jaywalking, very good. And my guys working patrol today said that there was golf carts out and people were out like a spring day, so. As Lou pointed out, and I'm sorry if I'm being long-winded, just some of the things that I just wanted to speak about is that, when we came in, we have some challenges with our facility here, which we all understood. We cleaned out some areas. We're in the process right now. As I said, our guys have kept some really solid relationships with former police departments and some current police departments. I'm in the process right now of working on getting a squad car donated to us and some other equipment. We're looking at water rescue equipment, first aid equipment, a squad car, and some computer equipment. So, in going through law enforcement for this many years and having a lot of guys, I like I said, my guys are all trained. I think the least amount of time on the job is like 10 years, aside from the guy that we hired as a part-timer. And he'll go through the part-time police academy, which now is 9 months long, and he has to, finish up all of his training before he can come out and work the street alone. He is doing in-house training with us before he starts the academy, and he's gonna be a great asset to this village and to the police department. Any thing that's popped up, I understand. I don't follow Facebook, but some of my guys do. There was some discussion about a drug arrest here in town. Things like that, it's an ongoing investigation, and it's unfortunate, because families are involved, people that you may know are involved. I just got a phone call the other day. We had an unfortunate passing of a young woman in town here that the McHenry County Drug Unit is investigating as a drug-induced homicide. And the main thing that I want to get across to everybody is this is all public knowledge, but if you guys see something, say something. What I always say is if one person is the only person that knows something, then it's no good to anybody else. If I'm the only one that has information and I don't share with my guys, then it's useless information. All of these things that have gone on, and I have been made aware of some of the comments and things on Facebook and stuff like that, and I've addressed it with my guys. My guys get out there, we work different hours, we watch the bus stops, we watch the kids. We patrol the neighborhoods. The guys still need to know the streets and they know the addresses and things like that. And we are watching, for different things. And, we have, all of our guys have different backgrounds, whether it be narcotics or gangs. I was a canine handler for a long time. I was a homicide detective. I've done a lot of different things that it opens up my eyes to a lot of, changes in a community. My sergeant that's standing behind me here is Suspenzi, who was just appointed today. That's an in-house suspension. He has extensive history in narcotics and gangs as well. And we just are bringing a little bit something different to the table here. We had an incident with serving a warrant, and 3 McHenry County sheriffs showed up just because the one officer said to me, we wanted to meet the new chief and see what was going on in Holiday Hills. And that was the only reason there was 3 of them there. And he said, Chief, you're doing a good thing here. He said, I've never seen this many cops working in Holiday Hills. I think you guys are gonna be okay. So part of what I had said before is I want to change the culture of policing. Lou had introduced me to the mayor and the chief in Island Lake, and we had a great conversation for about an hour. We are rebuilding the working relationship with Island Lake, with Prairie Grove. I have a personal relationship with McHenry County Sheriff's Office. from a job a long time ago. So these are all relationships that we need to build up again, you know, that were damaged in the past, and we're working on that daily. Any concerns that, and every time I've talked to any citizens that I see and I ask, you know, are there any issues, or my officers ask, please share them with us, because if we don't know or we don't see them firsthand, then we're not gonna know. And as I said, I don't follow Facebook, I don't follow all these pages and stuff like that. So reporting something on Facebook could fall on deaf ears, or then it starts that rumor mill. You know, like this happened, and then this happened, this person said this person said that. And really, it's all a bunch of nonsense. We all know that Facebook, and you know, Lou pointed it out, it's a social media outlet, and anybody can say anything on there. And Mr. Kasanji, we had that conversation when we talked at your door, correct? People say things, you know, it could be taken out of context, or people say things, and it could mean something to one person and completely something different to somebody else. I do want you all to know that, you know, I told Lou I'm not going anywhere. So I'm in it for the long haul. I take pride in my job, and so do all my guys, and we're here to do the right thing. If anybody has any questions or concerns, please bring them to me or any of my guys. What I am implementing now is an on-call system. My guys don't get paid to be on call, but my guys are loyal to me, and they're loyal to the community and to the police department. So what we're gonna have is an on-call system where I'll always have a supervisor and myself will be available by cell phone. If nobody's working, we'll take a call. If somebody needs to come out and handle it, we'll come out and handle it. We're changing up a lot of things with training because we have to. There's no choice. We just did firearms training last week for half the shift or half the department, and then the other half will be done on the 28th because state law mandates that we get trained up every year. We're getting up to speed with all of that. Second Amendment has been great and gave us a deal on some lanes there to shoot at the range. However, shooting costs a little bit of money, you know, so we are, you know, going through that. And again, all of this is gonna be, you know, on a weekly basis. I try to dissect each thing and do it as it's important to us, to the operation of the police department and the village. So again, you know, people have talked to me, I've talked with Jeff, and we're talking about doing the floor and, you know, doing some, sprucing up some things in there, just to have a better working environment for my guys.
They probably have no clue what that used to look like
Yeah.
before you guys came in.
Nobody wants to know what that used to look like, so.
All our guys came in on their time under chief, and they all got together as a group and literally said, "Can we paint now?" I'm like, "Yeah, no problem, I'll get you some paint." I mean, they really cleaned it up back there.
Yeah, so it's been a process. We got a new report writing system. We're going through some things right now. Mike is working on a program called LexisNexis, which is a free accident reporting program, which anybody recently who's been in a car accident knows that it's not on hard copies anymore. We didn't have that, unfortunately, but we will. It's a 2 to 3 month process because we have to test it and troubleshoot it and stuff like that, but we're gonna have that program soon. As I said, we're working on these donations with squad cars. Thankfully, some of our connections go back to some departments with some real money, and they're, you know, willing to write some stuff off. So if we can get donations of cars like that, that's gonna save this village a lot of money in the future. So on a daily basis, you know, we're working on those things. And if anybody has any information, you know, communication is paramount in this situation. It's a small community. Unfortunately, I'm gonna say this more on a personal end. I see a lot of bickering here, and I don't think it's really necessary. You know, it's everybody lives in this community, and I know, and I felt this coming in that I was gonna get a little bit of I was gonna meet a little bit of a brick wall by a lot of the residents because they figure, well, this guy's coming in, he doesn't live around here, he doesn't care. I assure you I care. I take pride in what I do, my guys all do, and you're gonna see a lot more of us around, a lot. And as long as everybody's doing the right thing, nobody has anything to worry about. So I think, you know, we're gonna we'll be out here for the events in the summer, and I think Easter will be the first one you'll see our guys out.
That's Easter parade.
Yeah.
I know that you're working on changing the emails around, correct?
Yes.
Is there any way any residents can email anything anonymously, or?
Not yet, but I'm glad you actually said that. So I did speak with one of the residents regarding a mailbox issue. And one of the things that an agency that I did some work with several years ago, what I just found out is they're entering into a Ring doorbell program. And what it is you can anonymously go into this site, with Ring doorbell. And let's say if somebody says, hey, you know, I saw this crash outside, but the car left the scene, the community can say, hey, did anybody's Ring doorbell catch this? Now, things like that, obviously, emails are not anonymous, we don't have any way to do that right now, but I can look into that. But things like that, where Ring doorbells have become so useful in a lot of cases. I mean, I have a friend that the Detectives Bureau in Gurney used one on a homicide. They tracked the car from the shooting to all the way in Waukegan, over 3 miles away, all by Ring doorbells the entire way, and they found the car in a garage, the offender's car in a garage. So in a small community like this, those things can be useful. You know, people talk about speeding, or people talk about a suspicious vehicle, correct, Mike, out in front of the house? That should be a call right away, either to 911, or to even just say, hey guys, I live right there, do you guys need anything? You know, if it's not reported properly, then we can't handle it properly, whether it be my guys, if they're here or not, or if it be the sheriff's police. So things like that, you're only helping out your neighbors. And in your case, you got cameras set up, you can get a license plate, and get a license plate when you go out to take a walk down the street to make it look like you're just walking away. Grab the license plate and report that. So that if it is in fact they have ill intent, you know, you can say, hey, I got this guy's license plate, and it'll help out the sheriff's department or my guys 100%. So all of this information should be passed along, and I think it'll be helpful for everybody to share that. Does anybody have any questions for me?
That being, I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
I hope you will provide your team with the lead-free firearms for their required minimum practice time. We lost one of our previous chiefs to lead poisoning, get turned into cancer, so don't skip.
I
Make
had
sure
not
the
heard
village
that, but
pays
yeah,
for the
we're-
lead-free
I
firearms.
think actually we didn't buy
Especially
lead,
when you're
we didn't buy
inside.
ammo with lead, but yeah, it's, we just got some new stuff, but,
You're worth it.
yeah, and thank you, we tried.
And one other thing I wanna just add to this, I have never, ever met this gentleman until the time that he came in for the interview. I only met him then, as well as all the officers. I have no ties to these guys. I don't know anything except for their extensive backgrounds that I've looked into and stuff. Other than that, I have no ties. They're not here for Lou French. They're not here for the board. They're here for the village of Holiday Hills. That's why I no longer want to have people coming to me, hey, you know, your cop did this, or can you talk to the cops about that? You don't need to do that. Please, go see him. He's a good, intelligent professional that can help anyone with their problems. He also is very compassionate and has a great heart, from everything I can pick up on him. Okay? So now we have a police department that is separate from this board. We don't control the police department, that's his job. The only time I'll step in on a police department is if they're doing something wrong and I catch them doing something wrong. Then I have to, because it falls back on me if I don't. Okay?
Thank you all for your time, I appreciate it, thank you.
All right, so let's move forward here. All right, so we have report of standing committees. Once again, guys, these guys, just because they don't have anything on their agenda right now, I mean, with COVID and everything going around, there's not a whole lot put on the agenda, but in the backgrounds, these people work continuously. Jeff, for instance, changing light bulbs, fixing things up, doesn't have any agenda, he doesn't wanna be slapped on the back, but he's gonna do his job. Ms. Thompson coming in and overseeing to make sure she's looking at those warrants. Ms. Gilchrist coming in and checking out zonings and ordinances and stuff that she needs to work on, okay? Mr. Young has worked with me on several things for this summer coming up, all right? Terry, as you guys all know, she's been doing a pretty good job of getting the kids and making the kids excited. That's the other thing too. Remember, these people play the Santa Clauses, the elves, and take very big active in all our parades and all of our community things too, okay? Leslie's been training very hard up here to try to take over for more and learn this job. Lisa, as we all know, there's never been a better environmentalist for the village of Holiday Hills. She's not just your average, okay, I'll call the mosquitoes in, we'll bring mosquitoes like we've always had. She does the job as an environmentalist. She's on many boards, once again, inside the county. Okay, she's an avid bird watcher, she knows about every species of bug there is. So if anybody can ever come up with a better environmentalist than what she is, God bless you all. She also worked very hard to try to organize a new system of trying to get rid of our leaves without burning them. Okay, so the statements of they never have anything, they never do anything, that is so incorrect. All right, that going forward. I have, buildings and grounds, Mr. Giles,
No, I forgot to put it on.
what'd you have?
I was up with Jeff the other day, but since they cleaned it out, they asked if they could get some paint to paint, and they want obviously get the floors redone and rip out the little carpet, but we can address it.
Once again, those guys are doing it all on their own time and their own money, just want everybody
Yeah,
to know
he
that.
wants to paint it, I said, well, I can definitely supply
So
some
we're
paint.
using that flooring that's over there in the corner?
No, that's going for the bathroom, there's not enough
Yeah, we
there.
don't have
Oh,
enough.
it's not, no.
I get huge discounts on some.
Okay.
things, so this is another.
All right, so then we have, community relations, Miss Baldwin, just a parade again?
Well, I don't see many kids out, because, of course, from the
This
bad
is-
weather
right,
and stuff.
right.
So I have no idea how many kids are in the village. Does anyone have an estimate, so we make sure we have enough for the kids to pass out at the parade?
We've been averaging getting about 100 stuff for 100 children, and we've always had leftovers. So, you know, but the parade might be a little bit different. Of course, last year when we did the Easter parade, people really enjoyed that, and now we have residents that are going to decorate their golf carts, so it's kind of turning into a whole new animal of its own. You know, it's a play by ear kind of thing. Each time we're gonna learn a little bit more.
Do you remember how many you gave out last year, how many you did last year?
I didn't hear.
Oh, do you remember how many you did last year?
I usually do like 50 to 75.
I don't know, have kids been moving in, does anyone know?
Always.
Or out, is it, are the big families moving
There's a
out?
lot of young families
I
in
think
there
there's been
now.
a lot of new young
I
families.
was just like, coming in, I know, yes.
So we just, let's just average it, right now,
Big
we'll
100?
average at 100, and we'll just, you know, work from there. And, you know, you never know, the biggest thing I always said is everybody getting one and one child not having enough to give that one child can be a complete heartbreaking disaster. It's better not to have that.
Do we have a
disaster.
date for the?
April
Yeah.
It's the day before Easter.
I think it is, right?
17th.
Okay, and once again, anybody would like to join in on the Easter parade, decorate your golf carts, cars, wagons, whatever you have, please feel free to do so, make it fun for the kids. I think we're doing it from, what did we say the time was?
Noon time to 5.
No, not noon to 5.
Like noon to 2.
No, I think it was like 12 to 12, I think it was 12 to 3, was it, or 12 to 2?
I thought it was later.
No, we always do that like earlier daytime.
Well, it should be last month's minutes.
Yes.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
Not the times, but I know I wrote it on my last one, so.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's look at it now so we can get that out there. Anybody got the minutes in front of
It's
them?
not,
Yes.
Okay.
it's just the date, I physically wrote the times on my last time. so.
Okay.
It's starting at noon, is all we said.
Okay, yeah, we start at noon, it usually takes about 2 to 3 hours to get, because we go to every single house, so it starts at noon. Everybody that wants, interested in being in a parade, please be here around 11:30. Okay? All right. Where did it leave off? Okay,
Environmental.
environmental,
Next time.
okay. Finance,
Nothing.
once again, she worked really hard today for several hours going through the warrants and the financials. All right, planning development, Mr. Young is out of town for family emergency. Village codes,
Nothing.
okay. Any old business? Any new business?
Yes.
Okay,
In with the old, or in with the new, out with the old. That vacuum cleaner,
Is it dead?
that was
that's
$35
dangerous.
one-month special.
It's spliced together.
It's spliced and it's
Okay,
not
I will
properly
pick up-
spliced.
I will pick up a new vacuum for
Well, I was looking, we were talking about it, like,
We
some
need
that
something
just
for
does
floors now.
vacuuming and mopping at the same
That's
time,
what I'm
and that's cheap, very cheap. Cause it's not gonna take much to do this.
No, that's why I said, that was just a carpet vacuum there.
Yeah.
We need the new floor model. I'll see what they have at Home Depot, look around, see what they get on.
That does mopping and vacuuming?
Yes.
Same.
A floor. for
This
each
way we
floor.
can get rid of those things in the corner by the toilet too.
Okay, alright. Okay. So, we need to have an executive session, so it shouldn't take us too long. And, so I'm gonna have to ask everybody to step outside. I know it's crappy outside and I apologize, but we'll go as fast as we can on this.
Can we do comments before you do executive session, so we don't have to stand out on the ring, we can leave if we want?
Yeah, I guess we can do
We
that,
only
sure.
have one.
Yeah, we can do that.
Or two, actually.
Okay,
depending
yeah,
on,
sure.
so.
I mean, is there anything in the executive session that we would be interested in?
The only thing, I'll tell you right now, executive session, and I'll just say this now, okay, the executive session's about giving raises to our police officers. They are the most underpaid in McHenry County. Last time we gave a raise to our police officers, we only gave them to the officers, the chief received none. Okay, so we're still gonna be under what everybody else in the counties are paying their officers. But to have good professional police officers, this day and age, you gotta pony up. And cops are hard to get and they're hard to find. These guys really came in because they had a caring for this village. And they wanted to do, they all work in Cook County, they all work in big city things, and this for them, this gives them an opportunity to switch up their game and learn a little bit more about perseverance in the smaller communities. Okay? So, that's what it's gonna be for.
But it's on the
You
president's
really shouldn't be
report.
telling this, Louis.
What's that?
That's on the president's report, honestly.
The vote is,
No, the
yeah.
vote is after the executive session.
Oh, gotcha, gotcha.
Because
gotcha.
we have to discuss that amongst
Okay.
us to be able to say yes or no to the raise, then we'll come
Gotcha.
out and then we vote on the raise. Okay, alright, so,
You wanna
you
do
know,
that?
unless,
Or
is
just do
it,
public comment
Yeah.
first.
okay,
Yeah.
is it legal for us, if everybody, does anybody have any objections or any conversation about this?
No, we gotta wait till.
Okay, alright, okay. Alright, so yeah.
But yeah, we can do the
comment.
public, or Kathy's first.
Okay. Ms. Andrews?
Yes. I wanted to just reiterate, Open Meetings Act. I've gone through your warrants, and there's bills you've paid that have never been mentioned in this building. You have not voted on them. And as far as I know, you need to discuss something. This isn't the regular, the lawyers and all the pays. But there's been items almost on every warrant that has never been discussed at this board level. And the people in this village need to know what's going on.
Okay, can you please elaborate on what you?
No, I will not. I'm not going into it. Another thing, one more thing, and
Fix something if we're not knowing what you're.
well, just be careful with your warrants,
Okay,
okay?
alright,
Another thing, may I say one more thing? This thing with the wells,
yes,
my suggestion is that you guys go to the county, the EPA,
you have to do that.
the IC, well, you guys, go there, see what the parameters are.
I did that.
Okay, then find out how much it is to dig a well, give these people relevant information.
Okay, well, I did state the facts, what the county and the health department said, you have to be 75 from
Right.
your septic, 75 from your neighbor's septic, unless of course they're sewers. That's number one. Number two, wells, now, they used to go for about $5,000, but because of the cost of materials and stuff, I'm gonna say a well's probably gonna cost closer to $7,000.
They're not
Right.
cheap.
And they try to find a foot too, so it depends on how deep you go down and where you're going.
Well, we wouldn't have to go very far.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But I think if you could get this all together and make a list, and then if somebody's interested, and I don't know whether they'll let us do it, I truly don't.
No, I looked into it, we can do it, we can do a well. Now, I'm not saying every single house in here can
No.
do it, because it depends on what septic, where the septic's at and stuff.
And most of those houses don't have 75 feet.
Right, don't have 75.
Right, so what I'm getting at there is not every house can get it, but once the sewer's in, just about every house should be able to get it. Also, what the water table is, what kind of water is coming out of the ground, how close are you understand what I'm saying? So
Oh, I know.
Well, that being said, the only way you can really determine that, Kathy, is by hiring a company to come in and assess you for a well.
Well, and you know your wells have to be checked You have to keep you have to maintain your well.
Yeah, you're right, chloride.
But I mean, what I'm saying is, these people don't understand the cost of this.
Right.
You're gonna take the cost of the whole thing, and then the cost of your water bill per month,
Right.
and see how many years it's gonna take you if you put in a well to pay that water bill.
I don't disagree with you, but
Okay.
that, once again, is an individual's research
Right.
to do.
Right.
It's the homeowner's research.
But
to
it's
do.
better for you to do it, because this is how you got in trouble with the sewers.
I
There
don't get
wasn't
any trouble
relevant
with the
information. Well,
sewers, Okay?
your residents
We
don't
had
agree with that.
there was over 3 meetings about that, with some of the residents, okay. All right, thank you for your comment.
You're welcome.
All right,
Oh, yeah, do you wanna do that?
anonymous?
Yes.
Can we do it anonymous?
You do what you like with it.
Oh, okay. Is this anything that,
Well, this is actually from December, and I was supposed to read it in December, so
okay, is it, but we don't know
I
who it's
forgot all
from.
about it.
Wait, let me see, what is it?
No, it's legit.
I know,
I know who wrote it,
okay.
but they,
Oh, okay,
yeah.
I see what you're saying, okay,
So,
yeah,
Thank
absolutely.
thank you to a generous resident from a monetary donation to the North Pole Activities and Children's Party. Thank you for assisting in limb and tree cleanup after September windstorm. So,
That was
we're
very
just thanking
nice,
somebody anonymously,
You're welcome,
who
whoever
doesn't,
you
who
are.
doesn't want credit.
Okay, that was very nice. Okay,
So somebody wrote it on their behalf.
did anybody have just once, any kind of just a simple comment? Penny, please?
Just because I've lived in here for over 40 years and I have a little more history, the village did look into taking over the water company some time ago. And the reason that our water is kind of such a mess is that, it was operated under, a company, kind of, a one-man company, that had SBA exemption. And so bringing this water system up to code, which is what this utility is doing, because they can't utilize the exemptions that their predecessor was able to use. The village can't take that. The state of Illinois, when my husband was village president, said it will cost you millions. And
I know,
that was
well, listen to me.
quite a while ago.
Irita also explained, her husband worked on that too, and explained it to me, that's what I'm saying. I just want you guys to know that those are what our options are, and do we throw good money towards bad money? No. How do we fight them? Like Mr. Kelly said, we have to all individually write, call. Talk to your congressman, talk to your representatives. That's the only way you're gonna do it, and is that really gonna work? I probably not.
I have a gut feeling there's something odd with this renaming, that they're trying to isolate sections.
I think they renamed it to put it all into one big unit.
They didn't
like we
rename
just
the
did.
whole thing. If you read their letter, they only renamed, and they don't say which Illinois pieces, to show that it's focused on Illinois. It's shenanigans in my
Well,
mind. It
It
just
is,
didn't
it is
smell right.
Illinois, Penny.
And while I
That is true.
understand like some doubt about complaining, like the ICC and all that the squeaky wheel does get hurt.
I agree.
If
I
enough
think
people
we should
get,
all contact.
if enough people get pissed off, they can't, now they may not be able to necessarily do anything of whatever,
Can
but.
the lawyer put the number that he was successful in getting through on the Holiday
I
Hills
think-
page?
I think-
Can you say the residents should contact this number if they have a
I
personal?
think I have that in the email from you. We'll, you know what, we'll get it posted, okay? On the
Thanks.
official Facebook webpage, on the residents one, since a lot of people
Well,
use
what
the
about the
residents.
what actual website?
Where, I'm just gonna say, and the website, everything we're gonna be posting on these will be also posted
Yeah, I
on the
prefer
website.
websites myself.
Okay.
I don't like to go on Facebook.
All right, is there anything somebody would just like to say? I mean, I don't wanna hold anybody, because we didn't switch to this to try to shut anybody off. We switched to this so that we don't get no repeats and we can try to get a little bit more clarity during our public comment. So, all right, so we're gonna adjourn. I need a-
We gotta do that.
I know, I was gonna
You
say
have to
we're
do
gonna
that,
adjourn.
but-
I want a motion to adjourn to executive session.